Hi guys, welcome back to this video between Lasker and Schallopp. Or sorry, welcome back to this game. And as we just noticed, Black sacked a piece to get an attack against the White King. And now White played Queen to c2. Also possible was Queen e6 check, followed by Queen to a2. Why did he not play that move instead? Perhaps something like Queen d7. Followed by the idea of rook d8, and maybe he thought it was just very hard to stop. Like if king e2, rook d8, what does he really do here? Whereas in the game, when he plays queen c2 instead, he has a few more options. For example, if queen d7, threatening rook d8. Well, honestly, what white might do is just play bishop c4 and then castle, and just give away the piece, and try to defend there. So instead, Black played the move Queen to d5. Oops, pressed the wrong button. There we go. Queen to d5. And his idea is actually to make bishop c4 harder to play. Because if bishop c4, bishop takes d2. So my question to you, pause your video and figure out how you would try to get out of this mess if you were white. You're up a piece, but your pieces are pinned and undeveloped. What would you do here? This is a very important moment. Alright, I am going to show you guys the answer now. Black played the move bishop to c4. And I just told you, wait, the whole point of queen d5 was to stop bishop d4. But Lasker saw one move further, that after bishop takes d2, he is not forced to capture that bishop. And he can simply play the move king to e2. And now we start to see the problem. If the queen moves anywhere on the d file, well, white could just take. Even rook to d1 looks pretty good, just followed by rook takes bishop. And if the queen moves somewhere like c5, with the idea of queen takes bishop, queen takes c4, then he can just take with the king. And so Schallopp was suddenly in some trouble. And he played queen to c6. And after king takes d2, and by the way, queen to d7 was a better move instead of queen to d5. I will show you the analysis before we move on. Queen d7, bishop c4, b5. Start pushing these two-passed queenside pawns is the idea. If castles, we can take on d2. And if king e2, bishop takes, queen d3 is a very strong move. And the idea is after queen takes, pawn takes, king takes, c4. Pawn takes, and then king takes. And for some reason, though, this looks okay to white. This looks okay for white, so I don't know what the deal is. Yeah, I think basically this is my analysis, and white is actually okay here still. So maybe Black kind of threw his advantage away. I mean, I think that the piece sack was just a bad idea, and he should have done what I mentioned earlier, which was simply g5, take, and queen d5. And Black is just doing much better here, followed by queen takes c5. That was his best chance. Instead, he made a common mistake. You know, like when you're up material, or when you have a really strong position, you have to be a lot more careful before you make a risky move. And I feel like he wasn't that careful. He kind of invited the risk. And I feel like you want risk when your position is bad, not when it's really good and almost winning. Because risk implies some kind of uncertainty. And it definitely will increase the chance that you've overlooked something and basically something might go wrong. And after queen d5, bishop c4, bishop takes, king e2, Black had some troubles. After queen c6, king to d2, rook to d8 check, the king went back to e2, and now rook to d5. And Black has an annoying idea here. Annoying idea of rook to c5. So pause your video again, try to find White's best move. Yeah, and this one is not a super complicated one. White can just play queen to b3, getting out of the pin and attacking the rook on d5. And after rook c5, bishop e6, rook d1. The king's going to hide out on f1. We have two bishops for a knight, and all of a sudden white is just completely winning. Amazing how it turned around. And the game didn't last much longer. He could have traded queens in one, I'm sure, but he decided not to. Decided to just go for checkmate. And this is another important idea. Like, you don't always just have to trade down because you're up a piece. It's perfectly reasonable to just try to checkmate your opponent. And one of my students has a weakness like this, where as soon as he gets up material, he doesn't even think about checkmating his opponent. He just trades like as fast as possible, and I feel like it costs him a lot of wins. Especially because he's better at attacking chess than he is in kind of like endgames, because they teach you as a kid, or when you're just learning chess, to trade down when you're ahead. But you have to be objective, and you have to realize that sometimes the easiest way to win is to keep queens on the board and just checkmate your opponent's weak king. And so, I looked at this game, and I just couldn't believe that he won it. Like, I look at this game without knowing the result, so I didn't know that he won, and I'm guessing all the moves as I look at it. So, like, I see this position on move 14, and I'm just like, this is the worst position ever. There's no way he's going to win this game, let alone draw it. I didn't see how he was going to even draw the game. And he did a really good job of finding some key moves, like queen c3 on move 14. While it's not the flashiest move, you need to find these moves to prolong the game when your position gets bad. You cannot lose hope. As you see, even in these bad positions, he sits there, he fights hard, he finds the best moves, and his opponents mess up. And that's how chess works. So you should never give up. You should always keep fighting to pose as many problems to your opponent as possible. Because objectively, there's no justification for this. Black is way ahead in development, black is going to win a pawn, and the white king is not even close to castling. Everything about chess rules and chess concepts say that black is virtually winning here. So it wasn't like he actually had a good position. He just had to find a way to make it like as less bad as possible. He did that, and he was rewarded for it. So thanks guys for watching, and I will see you tomorrow with another game from this tournament. Bye-bye.